Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're going to be comparing the Adidas Adizero Evo SL and the New Balance Rebel V4. So the Rebel V4 and the Adidas Evo SL are both very lightweight, simple, but really fun daily trainers that can tackle a really wide range of runs. They're quite stripped back designs compared to things like super trainers, but they're really versatile shoes and especially good for faster work because they are so lightweight. They're pretty similar in price. The New Balance is £140 or $140, whereas the Adidas is cheaper in the UK at £130, but then more expensive in the US at $150. Both really light, but the Rebel is a fraction lighter. It's 219 grams or 7.7 ounces in a UK 9.5. In a slightly smaller size, the Adidas is in the UK 9, is 224 grams or 7.9 ounces. And then they both have a 6mm drop from heel to toe. So when it comes to the design of the Adidas, you've got a minimal mesh upper with a nice amount of padding around the heel. Not a lot there, but enough to kind of cradle the Achilles and protect it. You've got quite a thin tongue that can move about a bit on the run, but I found it pretty much okay. You've got a Light Strike Pro midsole. We think this is the Light Strike Pro using the Adios Pro 3. It's a slightly firmer material than the one on the Adios Pro 4, but certainly very responsive. A proper super foam, and there's a small plastic shank around the midfoot of the shoe as well, just to give it a little bit of stiffness there, but there's no full length plate or anything like that in the shoe. You've got quite a distinct rocker shape, especially under the forefoot, which is apparently inspired by the Pro Evo 1 racing shoe. Then you've got Continental rubber on the forefoot for the outsole, and then at the back there's two strips of Adidas's clear rubber. And with the Rebel, you've got a lightweight mesh upper. Again, just a nice amount of padding at the back there, not too much, but enough to feel a bit more comfortable in daily training, and then a very thin tongue as well. The midsole is made from New Balance's fuel cell foam. In this case, it's a foam that's 20% PEBA and 80% EVA. I believe that's the version of fuel cell we have in this shoe. Certainly a very lightweight foam, and you've got quite a wide design to the shoe compared to past models and indeed the Adidas Adizero Evo SL. Then you've got decent rubber coverage on the forefoot and heel of the shoe. It's quite a thick layer of rubber, exposed area on the midfoot, but all the key impact areas are covered just as they are on the Adidas.
The fit for me in the Adidas Evo SL, it's an Adidas shoe, so you normally need to size up half size in the Adidas shoe based on the UK sizing. I'm a size 8 in the UK. I tried a few different sizes on in the Evo SL in the shop, and definitely for me, sizing up half a size was the right option. It's actually a fairly roomy shoe in the upper as well. It's quite comfortable. It's not as lean as I'd expect from some shoes designed for faster training. But it's also very comfortable as well. Didn't have an issue getting a lockdown fit in it in my size 8.5. So I definitely go half size in the Adidas Evo SL. The New Balance Rebel V4, it's a bit less spacious than the Evo SL. I would say that if you've got wider feet, you might notice that in this shoe because it isn't a particularly wide shoe. It's not as small fitting as the Evo SL. There's a little bit of space in the forefoot for me, but I think for some people you might want to size up half a size in this shoe as well. I haven't had any issues with it in my UK size 8, but I think some people might. It's less padded than the Evo SL, and the upper is a little bit leaner, so I wouldn't say it's as comfortable as the Evo SL. I find the Evo SL to be a really nice and comfortable shoe for longer sessions, but overall, it's a pretty good shoe considering the weight and what the shoe is designed for.
When it comes to the fit, I've got a UK 9 in the Adidas, which is a US 9.5. In the New Balance, I actually went half a size up and got a UK 9.5, which is a US 10. That's because sometimes in the past, the Rebel has come up a little bit small for me, but I think I would have been okay in my normal size, a UK 9 with the Rebel. It's got a more spacious fit than past Rebels, and I think in general it's got a slightly roomier fit than the Adidas, which there might be a case for going half a size up in if you are quite big for your size or something like that. In general, just appreciate a lot of room in the toe box. I'm a little bit small for my size, so I actually found the fit worked really well for me. And in both shoes, I've actually had no real concerns about the fit. The heels haven't rubbed or anything like that. I've had a nice, comfortable hold. And they do have nice thin uppers that lock the foot down and work well for fast running, whilst actually also being quite comfortable to slip on and use as a daily trainer. So yeah, all round, I was very happy with the fit. I would stick to your normal size in both shoes. Potential to go half size up in maybe both of them because the half size up has worked in the Rebel for me as well. But I think sticking to your normal size for these brands is probably the way to go. On to the run test then, and these are two shoes that I like very much, and I've done a lot of running in them as a result. I think I've done over 100k in the Adidas Evo SL and around 90k in the Rebel. They're nice, simple shoes where the focus is really just on that good foam in the midsole, pretty comfortable upper, solid outsole, but yeah, it's all about that midsole foam, which delivers a good ride and a really versatile one with both shoes. Had the New Balance Rebel in first, and it was quite different to past Rebels, shoes I've really liked. It's a little bit less nimble and agile than those past Rebels because you've got this wider base, but that does offer a lot of support and makes it a more suitable shoe for long runs and easy runs, I found. And it's still really lightweight and still really good for fast runs as well. The extra width does take away some of that speed a little bit, but like I say, it makes it more suitable for long runs. I did a 15-mile long run in this, and yeah, just really enjoyed it a lot more than I would have past Rebels because you have got more foam underfoot and a little bit more support, and actually more so than you get on the Adidas. You've got a much wider shoe in the Rebel, especially around that midfoot area and at the heel, and that just gives you that feeling of kind of cushioning on both sides of your foot as you're running, which helps with stability, whereas the Adidas has a more nimble feel as a result of not having that width, but loses out a little bit on the stability front as a trade-off for that. So when it comes to the foam in the midsole, I've praised both of them, but the Rebel foam is good. It's quite balanced. It gives you a little bit back whilst being quite comfortable, but the Adidas foam is a step up. You've got Light Strike Pro in here, and it is a more responsive foam, a softer, bouncier foam than the stuff in the Rebel, and that does give it a more enjoyable ride really at any pace, but certainly comes into play when you start to run fast. You just get that little bit more energy return from the Adidas, and I think it's the better speed trainer of these two shoes. I've done several hard speed sessions in the Adidas, and it really does perform quite close to the standard of the best plated super trainers, just because you have got that really energetic foam in the shoe coupled with that aggressive rocker, and that does make it feel really good for running fast. But at the same time, the shoe does still perform well at slower paces, despite that fast foam and that rocker. You can kick back in the shoe and just go for nice recovery runs in it as well. It's got a soft feel underfoot. It's not as stable as the New Balance. It certainly wouldn't be as good for easy runs for some people, maybe heavy runners or anyone who needs a little bit of support. You might find that the Adidas really only works well for speed runs, but I have enjoyed using it at easy paces as well. And then you have got that higher gear in the shoe as well that really comes into play when you do run fast. I did do a run in both shoes at the same time, and you can feel the difference in the foams on the run for sure. The Rebel feels good, the Adidas feels great. Like you've got that softer feel at the heel where I'm landing, get a really nice cushy feel, but then a fast transition onto the forefoot and a nice level of punch off the toes thanks to that aggressive forefoot rocker and the really impressive Light Strike Pro foam in there. So it does feel less supportive and stable than the New Balance, which has got that wide base, but you do gain a lot of speed and fun from the Adidas because of its narrower design and the more aggressive feel of the foam.
So these are both shoes that you're going to look at if you're planning on doing training miles at a faster pace. They're both shoes that are pretty light by comparison to other shoes out there, and they're both shoes that have quite a lot in common really when it comes to training miles. I think the big difference for me in these two shoes is that midsole foam. The Adidas Evo SL has Light Strike Pro in it, which is it's a premium level foam. It's a performance foam, and you can really tell that when you're running in this shoe. It's got a nice little bit of bounce in it. It feels soft, but it feels like you get that energy back from it. And it has a lovely heel to toe transition. It's not overly aggressive, but it does feel like it's moving you forward, and it's a shoe designed for performance. Over interval sessions, faster sessions, tempo runs, things like that, really kicks into gear. You can really pick up the pace nicely in this shoe. Feels great. Definitely a shoe that is a step below the top level performance carbon racers, but for some people I think you could probably race in this shoe perfectly happily as well. I think it's a really high level performance shoe, especially considering the price. The other thing I'd say about the shoe is that even though it's quite a comfortable and soft shoe, it does feel like it gives you quite a lot back. There's no plate in this shoe, but it does feel like you get a nice bit of energy return from it off of that foam. It's a very versatile shoe as well. So I actually quite like this shoe for easy runs. I've been using it for a few easy runs over the past few weeks. Absolutely fine. I think this foam works really well if you're going at a more comfortable pace, which for me would be 5-minute kilometers, but really kicks into gear when you're doing those faster sessions, when you're doing intervals and tempos and things like that. It just feels like you're getting a lot back from it, and you get that experience from the ride as soon as you put it on. It feels like it's helping you forward. The Rebel V4, lightweight shoe, definitely feels like a shoe designed for speed. It's got quite a lot of cushioning in the midsole section. Cushioning is a little bit different than you get in the Evo SL though. I think that with the Rebel V4, what you're actually getting is there's not loads of energy return for me in this shoe. It just feels very nippy on the feet. Feels like you can pick up the pace quite nicely, but I don't feel like the foam's doing loads. It's definitely a foam that It feels very comfortable. When I'm doing longer distances, easy runs in this shoe, I don't think it's as good as the Evo SL. I don't think it's as versatile. I think it really veers more towards those maybe shorter, faster efforts. I wouldn't use this probably if I was going half marathon and above in training sessions. It's just not, that foam's just not enough for me to really enjoy those longer sessions, because it feels like it compresses a little bit more for me than the Evo SL without giving as much back. But it is a very fast shoe. I definitely use it for faster sessions like intervals and things like that. It actually feels a little bit more natural to me as well than the Evo SL. Feels more like a conventional lightweight racer than the Evo SL, which has, it feels like a performance shoe, and I think that's the real difference between these two shoes. Very similar in a lot of ways, and you'd probably use them for the same types of runs. I just think the Evo SL is a little bit more in that midsole foam, and that's mainly due to the fact that it's Light Strike Pro as well. The Evo SL outsole, really impressed with this actually. It doesn't have that much rubber on it. It's got a really good coverage on the forefoot of the shoe and these little clear bits on the back. The front is Continental rubber. Had no issues at all in this shoe. The grip is fantastic. I've been running in the rain consistently recently. Really like the outsole on this shoe. Really solid considering how thin it seems and how similar it is to some of the race versions, the race shoes that Adidas has. The outsole on the New Balance Rebel V4, absolutely fine. No issues at all with the outsole on this. It does have quite a lot of exposed rubber on it, but I've not seen any signs of wear and tear. It's fairly thick rubber as well. And no issues with grip in the Rebel V4, so pretty similar on both counts for the outsole. Okay, my final verdict for these two shoes. I think they're both very good shoes for training faster, picking up the pace. I just think that the New Balance Rebel V4 is a little bit more limited than the Evo SL. I think the Evo SL has more bounce. I think the heel to toe transition is a bit more enjoyable, more energy return, and I also think that it's a shoe that, because of that midsole, you can use it for a lot more. I mean, some people wouldn't use it for an easy run, but I think it's absolutely fine. I found it quite comfortable and had no issues with it. But you can really feel it helping you when you're out there running faster sessions, intervals, tempo runs, things like that. It really kicks into gear. It feels like a performance shoe on the feet, and it's, for the price, it's absolutely an absolute steal. New Balance Rebel V4 is a bit more conventional. I don't think you're getting the same wow factor of that midsole foam. I think it's a very good midsole foam, but I don't think it's giving you the benefits and the assistance that you might be getting from the Evo SL. But both very good shoes, but I just think the Evo SL is just far superior because of that Light Strike Pro midsole foam. And for the price, I think it's just a steal when compared with some of the other options, like the Super Blast 2 and things like that. For £130, that is a really good price for this shoe. And definitely I would put it above the New Balance Rebel V4 as a faster training option.
So it comes to the verdict, these are both great shoes, but the Adidas Evo SL is the one I prefer. It's got a bit more range, it's better at speed than the New Balance, I think, and the ride is just more enjoyable because of the more impressive foam you have in the midsole compared to the Rebel. It's just, a fantastic shoe and one that's great fun to run in. It's actually even cheaper than the Rebel over here in the UK, which makes it even easier to pick it out of the pair. It is less stable and supportive than the Rebel though, and it maybe works better in a rotation as more of a speedy daily trainer than one shoe to do everything in. I think there are lots of runners out there who will enjoy using the Adidas Evo SL for everything. I count myself among them. It is a bit of a trade-off with stability, but it's been fine for easy runs and slow runs in my testing. But yeah, if you want a bit more support, the Rebel's there. You could even pick up both for a nice combination of really good lightweight daily shoes with the Rebel hoovering up a bit more of the easy mileage, and then the Adidas focusing on the fast stuff. Like I say, the Rebel has a more supportive feel with that wider platform and the firmer foam. It's nice and balanced. It's still crazy light, and it is still a good speed shoe for sure, but it feels a bit more set up for more daily training at the easy end of things, and hasn't got quite as aggressive a feel as the Adidas. But you can still do fast runs in it, and some people will prefer the fact you get more support for sure. Still a fantastic shoe for sure, and if you don't love softer foams, you might prefer it to the Adidas on that count as well, because it is a slightly firmer feeling underfoot. But the Adidas's softness is not in any way squishy or sappy or anything like that. You do get so much energy return. It just is the more enjoyable ride for me, so it's the one I'd pick. So that's a comparison of the Adidas Evo SL and New Balance Rebel V4. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.